I have some wonderful people in the control booth. My friend Cynthia Tom has brought a couple of other people. There's an exhibit that opens up tomorrow, and it's called A Place of Her Own Art Exhibit, an innovative exhibition featuring over 25 artworks exploring the vibrant dreams and hopes of women. Saturday the 12th through Sunday the 24th, and I'm going to let them speak since they have voices. And so right now this is a place of your own. So let's talk to it. Cynthia, talk about who we got here.
Thank you, Avacha. I brought along with me two of our artists, Patricia Zamora and Ahran Lee. And I wanted to tell you, so right now we're here promoting the exhibition for A Place of Her Own. But I also wanted to, we're going to let you know a little bit about the program. It's a healing program for women using art materials and art-based technologies. So anyway, the exhibition is going to be at a place called J-SEI, and that's spelled J-SEI, J-SEI Center. And it's in Emeryville at 1285 66th Street in Emeryville. And it's very close to Hollis Street, if you know Emeryville at all. Again, 1285 66th Street in Emeryville. And the opening reception is tomorrow, Saturday, May 12th, from 2 to 5 p.m. And what you're going to see there is at least 24 works by 20 artists, women artists who've gone through this program, A Place of Her Own. And it's a 4-month, they've gone through 4 months already. We have them look at their hungry ghosts, which are their family patterns and beliefs that hold them back. And we do that on knowing, kind of having a background and understanding why their families ended up migrating to this country. We're looking at how colonization, war, forced migration, and even extreme discrimination, how that twists the family tree and how that affects our lives now. So we look and we examine those things, and then after a couple months of digging deep, we start looking at ways to think about aspirations and what we want for our life. And if you find that hard for yourself, it's not unusual. It's very difficult for these women. But we hope you come out to the exhibition to see the culminating exhibition after this 4-month-long program, A Place of Her Own. Again, it's at J-SEI Center. And what I wanted to do was introduce you to Patricia Zamora, who's actually representing, she's a participating artist, but she also helps represent Boys and Girls Club of San Francisco, who is a partner for A Place of Her Own. What we're going to do eventually is create something from the A Place of Her Own different projects for the Boys and Girls Club staff, volunteers, and the children. But let me give you Patricia so she can give you her experience with PLACE.
Great. Thank you, Cynthia. So, yeah, it's an honor to be here. Thank you, Avacha, for having us on your show today and helping amplify the voice of the women that are in the show tomorrow. The reason I was very drawn to PLACE is because many women in particular, we are working in the community, and I understood at one point I'm a wounded healer, and I need to put time into how I'm taking care of myself because it affects myself and others. And our organization got involved because many of our youth also are coming from some of the situation that Cynthia said around, colonization, issues in the community, and the whole issue of trauma. And so this has been a great opportunity for us to experience how we can heal, transform, and become more powerful. And this year we had 2 staff and 2 mothers from the Tenderloin Clubhouse that participated in the show. And so we're super excited about showing our work tomorrow and seeing what dialogue comes out of the show.
You brought up a good subject there, heal thyself. And you gotta take care of yourself too, or else you don't do anybody else any good.
Amen. Thank you, Vacha. And the other very valuable artist that we have here is Ahran Lee. And I wanted her to tell you a little bit about her experience with A Place of Her Own, which is actually, I forgot to say, A Place of Our Own was started for the Asian American community because that's where my community is, Cynthia. And Asian American women in general largely are silenced. The ones with trauma are largely silenced and they have nowhere to talk about it. And that's where A Place of Our Own came from. But now it's open to all women, and women of color in particular, but it is open to all women who are trying to overcome backgrounds of pain and trauma. But here's Ahran.
Hi, this is an extreme honor for me to be amongst powerhouse ladies here. When I first got introduced to A Place of Our Own, I had visited the Hungry Ghost show that happened last year in December. And Cynthia was kind enough to invite me, and the moment I stepped in, my body felt at place. And once I started to read the artist statements there, every single woman's story said something about my experience. And I was overwhelmed with that emotional upheaval. And what that was, now in hindsight, there were women mirroring my experience. And as a second generation Asian American woman growing up, I didn't have these examples or these stories being reflected. And in this one museum space, this gallery space, so many women were telling my stories in this beautiful artistic way, and I had to be a part of that. And so I applied, and I started the program in January, and now it's May, and I cannot believe the before and after, the spiritual growth, the artistic growth, the collective consciousness that I am now a part of, this sacred sisterhood. And I can't recommend this program enough to all women, and especially it's a beautiful space to grow, learn, and heal with other sisters, and sharing really, intimate, vulnerable stories, and, the magic, the healing magic of art making. And we are very proud of the show that we're putting on this Saturday, and I want everybody to come and see what we've made.
Yeah, and we have artists and non-artists alike. Some of the women in the show have never made an art piece before, but because we guide them, I have some amazing art instructors who've been part of PLACE: Reiko Fuji, Irene Wabawa, Maggie Yee, Natalie Sacramento, and Chris Matos, one of our only males, that help guide these women using found object art to access their intuition. But I also wanted to let you know one of the projects that we do that helps you to reparent yourself if you still have a wounded little child. And Ahran brought her love letters to myself. Do you want to read that real quick?
Yeah, of course. So when I tried to attempt this project, I couldn't, because there was such an emotional block. I had a lot of resistance. And once I finally forced myself to reckon with what I was resisting, this letter came out. And so this is the letter. Dear Vivacious Ahran, I am so proud of you for being brave. You are doing the best you can. It's okay to feel deeply. It is okay to laugh out loud. That big laughter of yours is how big your heart is, and not something to hide. Don't try to be like others, and be yourself. It is okay. It is going to be okay. I am here for you. You can lean on me. I will protect you. I will love you. No one can do this alone. Remember, I'm always here for you. I love you for everything that you are. And so to be able to say this to yourself, not only was that empowering, but it was a moment of reckoning. I think women are taught to suppress their natural instincts, their natural desires. And so by that suppression, we forget to love ourselves. And it warps into guilt and shame and embarrassment. So it made sense that I had a lot of resistance writing love to myself. So this exercise was so incredibly empowering and powerful.
Thank you.
And I wanted to echo, I think Cynthia, just as the founder of PLACE, and just really honoring her holding the space for the women to come together every week, and to really, through the art, we were able to really embody what we were feeling. Like we do an exercise where we write down on rocks beliefs that hold us back, and literally we carry those rocks around all week, and you're like, they're bulging out of your pockets, you're embarrassed, shame, you're comfortable with your rocks, these beliefs, all these things come up, right? But it's a very tangible thing that you're going through. And then, I mean, some of the women were hiding the rocks in their bra because they didn't want people to see, you know, that they were carrying these beliefs, literally carrying these beliefs with them. And so it's really a powerful 6 months experience. And I think, you know, just your mentorship and guidance, and we're really excited to keep seeing how we can bring this work that PLACE has done into the Boys and Girls Club and with our families and with our kids, because this world needs more PLACE. We desperately need more PLACE.
And just so you know, the Place of Our Own exhibition, we have 3, we call them workstations, where you can actually, the public can actually come in and participate in the thought process. We actually have rocks that you can come in and write the beliefs that hold you back on. We have a station where you can write down something that you want to desperately let go of, and then you leave it behind with us in a little house. We have little explanations, but the public is welcome to do this during the open hours. So just to remind you, a Place of Our Own art exhibition opens tomorrow from 2 to 5, tomorrow being May 12th, Saturday. And it's at J-SEI, J-SEI, J-SEI Center, 1285 66th Street, and that's in Emeryville. And I believe there's a BART station, it's Fruitvale BART is closest, and there's a bus that goes within half a block of this place. Again, 1285 66th Street in Emeryville, and it's called J-SEI. And the reception is from 2 to 5 tomorrow.
Okay, you say it's on Hollis and what now?
It's half a block east of Hollis Street, 66 and Hollis.
Okay, okie doke. Okie doke, I think you better check, folks, you better check with
Website.
511, because I don't think that's near the Fruitvale BART station, but anyway,
Well, they said that's the closest
Oh,
one.
okay.
That's what they told me.
okay.
You
But
can-
I know that Hollis is a few blocks west of San Pablo, and so,
Yes.
anyway, I would check that, and San Pablo is a good deal away from the BART station, on that BART station, the Fruitvale. So I would call 511 and check on that, find out what is the closest one. But I know that it's in Emeryville, that it might be closer to the MacArthur BART station, but anyway.
Maybe you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It may be MacArthur.
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
But whatever, check 511 and they'll give you the exact directions. I just know that Hollis is a few blocks west of San Pablo, and it's not hard to get to. There's buses that go right there and stuff. So, and folks, you know, we talked about it before I had you on another program. What happens when some of those hungry ghosts get too hungry and more hungrier than what you can handle?
Right. We have a list of therapists, and we also recommend people see their own therapist, because we are not therapists. We are artists. We are artists who've done a lot of our own personal healing. We're artists with trauma who've worked through a lot of things. And actually, A Place of Our Own has been going on since 2009, so we've really evolved in what we do. But thank you for asking, Madam Vacha. We definitely are not trying to do therapy here.
Well, what can a person do if a person wants to help support this? How can he do that?
We have a website, aplaceofherown.org, and we have a donation page on there. We could definitely use donations, or if you don't have an internet, again, at aplaceofherown.org, you can call 415-722-4296. Again, 415-722-4296. We're always looking for donations and or community partners or anyone that can write about what we're doing, because we is basically me. It's grassroots. I have some wonderful people helping me, but a lot of what we do is for free, and to be sustainable, we just need a village. We need to build our village.
You know, one of the things that I really like about this whole project is that you're taking something and taking something that may be ugly and turning it into something beautiful. And that is always a healing process. And I know that this is a program for women, but I mean, it's really what happens on planet Earth when we're babies. We could care less about all of the isms and what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. And a good example I would use, a guy who sort of like became a surrogate uncle to my kids, a friend of mine, a blues musician, J.C. Burris, and if you had a chance to see him before he passed, he was from a family of sisters and what have you, and they had all these little dolls and what have you, and there he was, stuck, and the boys are not supposed to play with dolls. So he made these puppets, which became part of, if you ever saw him, he was a blues musician who played harmonica, and he sang, and he had these dancing puppets. And so that was his way of healing, that little ism. And I think it's really important that folks turn this ugliness around and learn how to make lemonade out of lemons before they wind up being, just a piece of compost.
Yeah.
You know?
Or composting others.
Yeah, really, that's the
Yeah.
truth. It's really, I think that the whole thing, is really important that folks find a way of not just accepting, but turning it into something positive, because otherwise you just drown in the madness. At least that's what I feel. What do you want to talk about, Dad? How you want to? I mean, a lot of people, instead of being actors on life stage, they wind up being the stage that life acts itself out on. And I think that it's really important that folks learn the difference between the two. So why don't you talk a little bit, each of you, talk a little bit about why, maybe you. my friend.
Sure. Yeah, so that's the beauty and magic of the creative process. It lends itself to be, it gives you language, your own language to things that you can't, articulate with words per se. So that beautiful story about the puppets, the making of that, he was able to name them for himself. And, I think you can't really plan that until you start making it, because it's communing with yourself. It's going to those dark places and sitting with it and being okay. Hey, this is my pain, this is my ugliness, but I'm gonna make something beautiful out of that. And that's magic, and that's very powerful, and that's what Cynthia has created. This program, we meet once a week. It's usually from 6 p.m. to about 9:30, but it's never enough. And when we get to the space, we're tired because we've had a week, we've had days, we've had obligations, but we get there and all of a sudden we're full. And that's incredible, and that's what Cynthia has created for us. And so we show up every week, and I can't believe we're not gonna have that anymore after this, yeah.
Well, Patricia, what do you got to say about it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think totally what Ahran said, and just the thing of creating beauty from these cycles that have been going on for a long time. That came before us, and part of what we're doing is breaking cycles for the ones that are coming behind us. And the piece that I have in the show is actually my family tree, but I didn't do it like chart. I actually did it in my body. One of the other women traced the outline of my body, and I had to create something beautiful when I started seeing there were generations of it's alcohol, drugs, violence, whatever that had been happening. And then when we got to the 6th generation, which is now the little ones in our family, we can make choices, and we are. And there's 4 of us in our family that know that, and all the things that we've been learning, I take it back to my family and I actually use it to have conversations. So this isn't just for me, this is for myself, my community, my family, and it's interesting because they want a space to open up too. And sometimes they don't know how, and so this has been a great way to have those conversations and grow stronger through them.
Yeah, Paz actually, since she's been through the program twice, she's been able to take back some of what she learns to her family and have discussions. And I ask your guests to kind of open their minds to what the concept of art is and visual art and the discussion around visual art, because what you're going to see at this show may throw out all the traditional ideas of what art is. And I have to give a shout out to Scrap, which is a Scroungers Reuse Center. It's over in San Francisco. It's over on Tolan near Bayshore. And I rely heavily on this place. It's a huge warehouse full of scraps, full of things that people throw away, full of things that industry throws away. And school teachers know about it because that's where the only place they can afford to get their art supplies. But I use it for a place of our own to teach women how to honor their intuition. They go in there and I ask them to learn how to like what they like. So if they like something in there, to just take it without analyzing what it's for. And so this whole process is about honoring your intuition and then showing it to other people and finding out that other people honor it as well. And we're there to turn a light on. We're there to turn a light on and awaken people, not just women, but to awaken the community to what's right. And PAS and Ahran's art pieces couldn't be further apart from each other, but they all have the same heartfelt process. And there's a lot of deep processing in them. I think it'll inspire many, many people to think differently.
Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to talk about before I get back to this music?
I just would love to thank our sponsors real quick. San Francisco Arts Commission, California Arts Council, Zellerbach Family Foundation, J-SEI Center, who's been so generous in giving us the space and not charging us, Asian American Women Artists Association, and here's the longest name. They've been our sponsors of scholarships twice. It's Pacific Asian American Women Bay Area Coalition.
Well, I want to thank you for coming down. Once again, the who, what, where, why, and when.
It's a place of our own art exhibition. The location is J-SEI, that's spelled J-SEI. Address is 1285 66th Street in Emeryville. Again, 1285 66th Street in Emeryville. And for more info, it's tomorrow, Saturday, May 12th from 2 to 5. There's an artist talk, Sunday, June 3rd from 2 to 4. And then there's a closing celebration on Sunday, June 24th from 12 to 3. So again, you can go to the website, aplaceofherown.org for more information, or call 415-722-4296. And thank you so much, Avacha.
Thank you.
It's the honor's mine, but Cynthia's a busy woman. I don't know. She's one of those people. In fact, I know a lot of folks like that. That don't seem to ever sleep. So you got another exhibit happening in Marin right now, right?
Yeah, actually tonight is my opening at a place called Falkirk Mansion on 4th Street in San Rafael. But if you were going to go to one thing I'm doing, go to the Place of Our Own show. But
Go to
tonight,
both.
tonight's Falkirk on 4th Street. It's actually tonight and or Sunday. So tonight is 5 to 8, Falkirk Mansion in San Rafael, or Sunday, Mother's Day, May 13th, from 11 to 6, again at Falkirk Mansion in San Rafael.
Well, I believe art is a healer, so I think you can do all of it. So with that, I want to get back into some more of this music. And since we've been talking about healing, a wonderful group I love, Jane Bonnet from Canada and Makakehu, a group of Afro-Cuban women. They made a couple of albums. This is from their latest one, Odara, and doing the classic A Song for You. And so I dedicate this to you and all the women and men who are working on healing themselves, because otherwise we are in some serious trouble. So with that, I dedicate this to all of the folks who are working on just taking care of themselves and healing themselves. And heal yourself, and that is kind of contagious, and you might heal a few others.